Hey, welcome. If you're running a clinic, your patients already trust you with their treatments, and that's huge. But what about when they go home? Today, we're going to build the blueprint to turn that deep clinical trust into real retail loyalty, making your practice a go-to destination for more than just procedures. All right, let me ask you something straight up. You are a medical expert, no doubt. But is your retail strategy just an afterthought? For so many aesthetic clinics, retail is this massive missed opportunity. And it's not just about adding a few bucks to the bottom line. It's about extending your expert care way beyond the treatment room.
You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the chaos of having retail without a real plan. It actually comes from the story of a spa director, Jasmine, who realized her clinic's shelves were just a mess of discounted products nobody wanted. Worse, they had nothing to do with their high-end scientific philosophy. Does that sound a little too familiar? Yeah, that's exactly what we're here to fix.
Okay, so let's get into it. Phase 1, building your strategic foundation. Seriously, before you even think about which products to stock, you have to know who you are and where you're going. This is the absolute bedrock of a profitable retail arm. Get this right, and everything else gets easier.
It really all boils down to three simple but super powerful questions. First, you've got to be brutally honest. Where are we right now? What are the sales, the profits, the products we have? Second, where do we want to go? What's the dream? And third, the big one. How are we going to get there? That's your action plan. Think of this as your roadmap, your GPS for retail success.
So, what exactly is a vision? Well, think of it as your clinic's North Star. It's not just about selling some creams. It's about your ultimate destination. Maybe your vision is to become the top destination for anti-aging treatments in your entire city. Okay, great. Now every single retail decision you make has to point you toward that star.
Your mission, on the other hand, well, that's your promise. It's the why behind everything you do. So if your clinic's mission is all about scientifically proven treatments, then every single product on your shelf has to live up to that. No exceptions. You sell some cheap, trendy cream with who knows what in it? Boom. Trust's broken. Instantly.
And finally, we have your core values. I like to think of these as the rules of the game for your whole team. They guide everyone's behavior and every single decision, from which brands you partner with to how you talk to your patients about them. They make sure your clinic side and your retail side are speaking the exact same language. Okay, so once that foundation is rock solid, we can move on to phase 2. Now it's time to look outward, to really understand the market you're in and, most importantly, the clients you serve. And this is where we stop guessing and start making smart decisions based on real insight. Okay, this slide is absolutely crucial. We've got to talk about the huge difference between fads and trends. Fads, they're like a flash in the pan. They're risky, they're reactive, and they almost always leave you with a bunch of stuff you have to sell at a loss. But trends, that's different. Trends are the real deal. They're based on big social shifts, like the move towards wellness. Understanding them lets you be proactive and plan for the long haul. You know, every single trend has a predictable life cycle. And if you can get a handle on these 4 stages, you can become a master of timing. You'll know exactly when to bring in a new product line for those early adopters, when to really push it as it grows, and, this is key, when to start phasing it out before you're stuck with it.
But look, market trends are great, but they mean absolutely nothing if they don't resonate with your ideal client. So let's get specific. Meet the client from Season Spa. She's not looking for a quick, cheap fix. She values your scientific expertise, and she wants real, lasting results. Knowing this, down to the detail, tells you exactly what kind of products she's going to trust you on and actually invest in.
Okay, time to get practical. Let's roll up our sleeves for Phase 3, which is all about mastering the day-to-day operations. This is where your big-picture strategy turns into actual sales, and your clinic really becomes a retail powerhouse. First things first, you gotta classify your products. Don't just throw a random assortment of things on a shelf and hope for the best. By creating clear categories like this and giving each one a budget, you can manage your inventory like a pro, avoid overstocking, and make sure you have a balanced offering that truly serves your clients. So, how in the world do you plan your sales? Well, here's a game-changing tip. Connect your retail forecast directly to your appointment book. It's so simple, right? If you know you have a packed month of treatments, that means you have a higher number of chances to sell. Use your own data to make forecasts that are actually realistic.
And listen, you can't do this all by yourself. Your team is your #1 asset. But is a flat 10% commission really the best way to motivate them? Just look at this. A tiered structure is so powerful because it gets everyone in the game. It encourages that initial effort, rewards people as they get better, and gives your top sellers a real reason to keep crushing it.
But, what happens when things just don't go to plan? Let's talk about Ruben. He was a clinic director who launched this big new gift set. He was optimistic, forecasting $5,000 in sales. The reality? A measly $1,200. I mean, that gap is just staggering.
So, you have to ask the big question. What went wrong here? It's not enough to just see that you failed. You have to be a detective and diagnose why it failed. This is where being agile is your absolute superpower. So Ruben did some digging, and here's what he found out. 3 big things. 1, the price point was just too high. 2, it was missing a deep hair treatment that his clients had actually been asking for. And 3, the perceived value just wasn't there. The pieces didn't feel like they were worth the price tag. By listening, he got his answer.
Okay, let's pull this all together now. We've gone from that high-level, big-picture strategy all the way down to the nitty-gritty of making it work on the ground. This is your complete blueprint for success. So here it is, your entire blueprint boiled down to a 5-step checklist. First, build that rock-solid foundation, vision, mission, values. Second, get those deep insights on your clients and the market. Third, master your operations with smart planning. Fourth, get your team fired up. And finally, and maybe this is the most important one, stay agile. Track what's working, what's not, and never ever be afraid to adjust.
So I'm going to leave you with one final thought to really chew on. That trust you've worked so hard to build as a medical professional, it is your single greatest asset. The real question is, are you ready to fully leverage that trust and become their go-to expert not just for treatments, but for every single product that supports their journey?